The best way to tell a story, to learn the truth of its dimensions, is from those who live it every day and those who are determined to change things for the better. Dlala Nje was founded in October 2012 to challenge perceptions and to create opportunities. And they do it by bringing people to the Johannesburg inner city to interact with its most misunderstood spaces. Ngcobo is the CEO of Dlala Nje. He was born and raised in Hillbrow, and he joins us tonight. Grant, welcome. As you hear the different opinions of people who don't even live there, what's missing for you in the narrative about the city?
Thank you so much for having me. And I've been listening to the show, and I can hear everybody's points of view. But the main thing that's missing is the solution. I don't hear anybody coming with a valuable solution on how we're going to tackle this issue, or any ideas on people coming to the ground and actually experiencing what people are actually, the situation that people are currently in the inner city. So yeah, I can hear good points on what really about building hijacking, which is one thing that we always speak about on our tours and educate people about. But then the solution is there's no one talking about the way forward and the solution of how we're going to actually tackle this issue.
So you raise an important thing, and you've lived there, you've conducted tours, you understand the area better than most people. What are some of those solutions that are being missed here? We've had extensive plans. We talked about, integrated city, inner city development plans and so on that weren't followed up on, that would have been a great opportunity to avoid the tragedy that we saw last week and so on. But from your perspective, what is the solve, or what becomes part of the solution?
What becomes part of the solution is what we like to call shared value, which includes actually involving people that are on the ground in the inner city and speaking to them and seeing what they need and how they can help. Because there's already small pockets of good organizations in the inner city that are already doing the work without any help from the city. So these are the people that we need to start looking at speaking to, and looking at how we can help them solve this situation. For example, our organization we have 2 community centers, and we are able to fund those centers using the tours that we take people on in the inner city. So we are able to raise funds, and we channel those funds directly straight to the community centers that help mostly the children. So we are able to really experience this firsthand when we have children that are coming from these high-tech buildings, and you can easily see the difference between kids that are coming from like a well-maintained and managed building, from kids that are coming from a high-tech building. Everything that they look at is sort of like surprising for them, because they don't experience that in their community, in their building. So it's a matter of the people that are in charge actually coming to speak to people on the ground and figuring out what are the issues that people are facing. For instance, we'll be able to identify the buildings, and most of the people that are staying in these buildings, they are also labeled as people that are criminals, as people that are foreign nationals. But then there's actually ordinary people that are living in these buildings, and it's not because this is they live there because they want to. It's because they live there because it's the only option that they have in most cases.
Yeah. You've shared a little bit about what I was going to ask you next. Given the grimy images of the Johannesburg CBD that are often, synonymous with its identity, what is the picture you would like people to see as well?
The picture that we always want to show to the people is that Hillbrow has lots of culture. It's a very Afro-cosmopolitan place. There's people from every part of this continent, and people live together with one another. And you always hear all the bad stories that are being told about Hillbrow by people that don't live there. Which is the biggest issue there. One of the things that we really take pride on is challenging people's perceptions. Because yes, if we go back to the early 2000s, late 90s, Hillbrow was one of the worst places you could ever step foot in. But then that has changed. If that was still the same, we wouldn't be able to take tourists from everywhere around the world on walking tours, on food tours through the streets of Hillbrow, through the streets of Yuval. If that was still the case, we want people to know that there's life in Hillbrow. There's ordinary people. Everybody that comes into the place is coming there to look for better opportunities from other parts of Africa, and people have managed to create a culture where they all look out for one another.
Yeah.
There is a sense of community. There is a lot of people that know each other and relate to one another. And what we would like people to know is that Hillbrow is there for everybody who wants to explore it, and people must first come and visit firsthand and actually have a look at what the reality is before they can, so that they can have their perceptions challenged.
Yeah. And that is the invitation that you're issuing to everyone in this moment. Grant Ngcobo, thank you very much for talking to us tonight and for sharing your perspective. He is the CEO of Dlala Nje.